Hi, my name is Orlando Vasquez, and with my partner Natalia Rosa, we're going to talk about child abuse in Puerto Rico. We are students from the University of Puerto Rico in Mayagüez campus, and we are doing this presentation because we are worried about this social problem, and it is very important that people are well informed of this situation.
Child abuse is one of the most common social problems Puerto Rico is confronting nowadays. Children and adolescents are victims of maltreatment, violence, abuse, among others, especially in their home. In Puerto Rico, child abuse cases are daily viewed. This situation has been seen since ancient times, but nowadays its frequency in Puerto Rican society increment. It is a type of violence that affects children and adolescents in long or short terms. This social problem not only has several effects in the victims, but also in society. Puerto Rican society needs to find solutions to fight this problem. In this research presentation, we will provide specific information about child abuse that could help to achieve the purpose, which is to educate and create conscience in society.
Child abuse is when a parent or a caregiver harms a child in any way. The abuse is not only produced by an action, it is also abuse when the parent fails to act and the child suffers any bad consequences because of it. It is the act or failure to act that results in death, serious physical or emotional harm, sexual abuse or exploitation. Harm is defined as any determinal effect of a significant nature on the child's physical, psychological, or emotional well being.
There are many types of child abuse, but in Puerto Rico, four of them are the commons. The most common in the island are negligence, emotional, physical, and sexual. Each type of child abuse is explained in perspective of the parents as aggressors, but aggressors could be anyone in the child's social circle. Negligence. According to statistics, it is the most common. It consists in the lack of parents' responsibility with children. Examples of negligence are stop providing food, clothes, education, shelter, medical attention, among other basic human needs that could risk child's life and integrity. Emotional negligence is the second common type of child abuse commonly seen in Puerto Rico. It is also known as psychological abuse because consists in the bad attitudes the parents have with the child, such as disparagement, insults, indifference, threatening, isolation, and among others attitudes that could affect child's emotional, social, and intellectual development. Physical maltreatment. It is when the parents or aggressor use extreme force in the child. It is a non-accidental action that causes physical harm in the child. Examples of physical harm are bruises, burns, fractures, injuries, among others. Sexual abuse. This type of child abuse consists in forcing the child to have any type of sexual pleasure with parent or aggressor. It is not necessary the physical contact to consider the action as a sexual abuse. For example, verbal seduction. The child could be used as an object of sexual stimulation, exposition of sexual organs to the child, among others sexual actions.
Like most things, child abuse has its causes that provokes the parents or caregivers to act the way they do against the minor in their care. None of these excuse their action, but they are some of the bases of the problem. They reflect life struggles at home, and these are just some of the factors that contribute to child abuse. They are ages for parents, socioeconomic level, abuse of controlled substances, and unemployment. First of all, ages for parents. Many parents aren't even ready to take care of themselves because they are too young and they have to take care of a child. Child abuse is more frequent in adolescents because they face many responsibilities at an early age, and having to mature before its time causes this factor to be so frequent in society. Socioeconomic level. Low economic resources create tension and stress in the household, and the children are seen as burden because the parents or caregivers can't find a way to sustain them. Abuse of controlled substances. The abuse of controlled substances can affect the mental functioning of parents, which causes them to neglect the child and stop caring for them. The other problem from this factor is that the parent, in order to maintain his or her addiction, they will use all the money for drugs or alcohol instead of taking care of the child. Unemployment. Unemployment is associated with many cases of child abuse because the children are treated as burden and most of the time they end up in abandonment.
Child abuse has several effects in the child no matter the type. The effects can be in short or long terms. The short term effects are those symptoms that appear in the child during childhood or adolescence. This type of violence could affect the child in many ways, but the most common short term effects are anxiety, depression, poor school performance, disobedience, and low self esteem. Anxiety is an effect that causes distress that could interfere with the children's ability to lead a normal life. The child is always feeling fear, nervousness, unease, and worry. Depression. This effect affects how the child feels, think, and handle daily activities. It has impacts in mental and physical health. The child is commonly feeling sad and loss of interest. Also, it could make the child have suicidal feeling. It's a disorder difficult to handle and control. Poor school performance. Abuse and violence have indirect effects in the school performance of child because of lack of interest. The child stops studying and be worried for the school, and this causes a lower GPA. Disobedience. The child presents disobedience not only with the aggressor, but also with everyone in his social circle. It consists in the rebellious of personality and bad behavior. The abuse situation he is living affects his sensibility with the directions and commands. Low self-esteem. The child starts feeling insignificance to others and himself. This creates in child a non-conformist personality.
There are also long term effects of this problem that can affect a person's life not only in childhood but also in his or her adult life. Some of these effects are physical health consequences, psychological consequences, behavioral consequences, societal consequences. Physical health consequences. Adults who experience abuse or neglect during childhood are more likely to suffer from cardiovascular disease, lung and liver disease, hypertension, diabetes, asthma, and obesity. Additionally, child maltreatment has been shown to increase adolescent obesity. Psychological consequences. Child maltreatment also negatively impacts the development of emotion regulation, which often persists into adolescence or adulthood. Children who experience neglect are more likely to develop antisocial traits as they grow up. Behavioral consequences. Several studies have documented the correlation between child abuse and future juvenile delinquency. Also, children who have experienced abuse or neglect will more likely smoke cigarettes, abuse alcohol, or take illicit drugs during their lifetime. Abusive parents often have experienced abuse during their own childhood. Societal consequences. The lifetime cost of child maltreatment and related fatalities in 1 year totals 124 billion, according to a study funded by the CDC. Child maltreatment is costlier on an annual basis than the two leading health concerns, stroke and type 2 diabetes.
Statistics. The Institute of Statistics of Puerto Rico presents several statistics related to child abuse cases in the island. All statistics are from 2013 because during this year, child abuse was the most common social problem seen. Approximately 34,000 cases of child abuse were referred during this fiscal year. In this chart are presented the cases referred during 2013 divided in, with fundament 14.7%, under investigation, 10.8%. False or fake, 0.3%. Not located, 6.7%. Another action, 12.7%. Another reasons, 0.5%. Without fundament, 21.5%. Without information, 32.8%. According to the types of child abuse seen in these cases, 58.9% was because of negligence, 45.5% of emotional negligence, 28% physical maltreatment, and 8.5% of sexual abuse. Negligence was the most common. Parents commit negligence without notice, thinking they are right or in purpose, and this is an attitude daily seen in Puerto Rican society. This chart presents the number of children referred according to the gender and the type of child abuse during 2012 and 2013. It presents that negligence is the most common in the island and feminine is the gender most affected. This graphic is from an actual research of 2016 year. It shows similar results as the ones in 2013, making sure that child abuse still affecting the Puerto Rican society. Another statistic presents the influence poverty has in child abuse. According to the research, the cities with more poverty have most child abuse cases referred. Vieques present the highest rate of child abuse with 28.8 victims per 1,000 children. In 2015, there was a reduction of approximately 39% in child abuse cases compared to 2012 and 2013 in the island. However, actually, children still being victims of maltreatment.
Laws that protect children in Puerto Rico. Law number 177 of August 1, 2003. Law for the Welfare and Comprehensive Protection of Children. The government ordered the necessary mechanisms to provide protection to children who are victims of abuse or neglect. In addition, this law allows to remove the custody of a child who is a victim of some kind of ill treatment. Law number 266 of September 9, 2004. Law on registration of person convicted of sexual offenses and child abuse. And this act created an register of persons convicted of sex crimes and abuse against minors, and it establishes who shall be recorded in the same, their duties and obligations, provides information to the community on persons convicted of sexual offenses. Law number 211 of August 28, 2003, to declare the month of April of each year as the month of childhood and the prevention of child abuse. With this law is intended to provide guidance to the public on the rights of children and the responsibility for them. Law 140 of August 9, 2002, Law of Character of Citizens right before the obscenity and child pornography. This act was amended so as to protect the right of our children to grow up in a healthy world without subjecting them to obscene materials and child pornography. Law number 338 of December 31, 1998 adopts Charter of the Rights of the Child. This law recognizes the rights of children and of their limitations due to their young age. In addition, explains that the family is a social institution and has a responsibility to ensure the development of these.
Daily, people can see child abuse in Puerto Rico streets and newspapers. Each case of child abuse has an impact in society. The most recent cases are: in September 29, 2016, Carmen G. Rivera Vargas was accused of child abuse and arrested with a bail of $25,000 because abandoned her child of 3 years old in a trash container 238 feet away from the house. The child was found only with a diaper and with ends in the extremities. In October 4, 2016, Francesca Otero Coriano, the caregiver of the child Emiliana del Valle Colón of 1 year old, was accused of homicide by drowning the child in Hogar Casa Cuna. In October 17, 2016, the couple Victor de Jesus y María del Pilar Ortiz was accused of sexual violence against an adolescent of 13 years old. Also, there was found in María del Pilar Ortiz a cause of concealment. Both were penalized, de Jesus with a bail of $10,000 and Ortiz with a bail of $75,000. In October 20, 2016, a mother was accused because burns her son's hands in a burner.
There are ways to prevent child abuse from happening, but they won't eliminate it completely, and they are based in creating programs to educate people so this problem can be better fought. They are overview, promoting child and family well-being, public awareness and creating supportive communities, prevention programs, evidence-based practice. The first one, overview, understanding child abuse, prevention, and what to do when children are at risk. Promoting child and family well-being, information on well-being and ways programs and systems can support it. Includes resources on protective factors, marriage, fatherhood, and parenting, public awareness, and creating supportive communities, tools for sharing a child abuse prevention message with your community and building community support, prevention programs, standards for prevention programs, research on what works, information on the role of related professionals, and resources for specific types of programs, evidence-based practice, child abuse prevention programs, and strategies supported by scientific research.
Treatments are the only way to lower violence effects in the child and also to prevent long-term effects. The most effective treatment is psychological therapy, which consists in treatments of first by a specialized and professional psychologist or psychiatric that will help the victim endure their traumas with violence experience. There are three types of therapy. Individual therapy is the mostly used in children because it helps directly the victim. In this therapy, the psychologist helps the victim to endure their situation and understand their emotional state. Group therapy. This consists of a group of victims that share their experiences. The therapists help all of them providing solutions. Also, the members of the group can give solutions to the victim's situation. Family therapy. In this one, the therapist or psychologist help all the members of the victim's family to endure their situation of child abuse. It is commonly used when the parents are the aggressors.
It's imperative that we keep educating and spreading the message that it's not okay to harm in any way a child, and if you do, you will be punished. We live in a troubled society, but in order to make a change, we have to start from our own homes. If child abuse keeps happening, all it is doing is creating more troubled people, and the cycle will never end. All change begins with an idea, but if there is no action made to support the idea, change will never come. We have to work together to make a better society for ourselves and our future generations. It is very sad to see people with great potential throw it all away because of their problems caused by ill treatment or neglect in their childhood. It's not fair for anybody to suffer by the hand of another, and we have to make it our mission to stop this problem that infects the homes of many people and brings pain to society.